Hey team, and welcome to the 5-minute guide for Fury Warrior. The Fury Warrior is a simple melee berserker which, with a Titan's grip, brings two mighty great weapons into battle, wielding one in each hand to cut down any who stand in its way with terrible strength. It excels at burst AoE, and it has an ability which works in a way that allows it to deal AoE damage without sacrificing much of its single target, which is very strong in a number of situations. Currently there's one talent build for Fury in both Mythic Plus and in Raids, and it focuses on enhancing our rampages, making them more frequent through talents like Endless Rage and Carnage, and making them more powerful through talents like Siegebreaker, which enhances our damage dealt for a short time. We also have Dragon's Roar and Sudden Death to enhance our moment-to-moment rotation for both AoE and single target situations. Fury Warrior is one of the more simple melee specs in the game, and it can be very alluring if you simply want to smash idiots in the face. Its simple gameplay loop of generating rage with Bloodthirst and Raging Blow, and then spending it on Rampage with Whirlwind as an AoE activator or a single target filler, is fast, easy to learn, and not even very hard to master. This puts Fury in position for being a brilliant spec for new players to the game who want to focus on mechanics or other things more easily while they perform their rotation. Let's start to go over the single target and AoE rotations for the Fury Warrior now. Firstly, single target. Fury follows somewhat of a priority system for its rotation against a single target, with Rampage being the most important thing to focus on, making sure you use it before you cap on Rage, followed by Siegebreaker, then Execute, then Bloodthirst, Raging Blow at 2 charges, Dragon Roar, Raging Blow at 1 charge, then finally Whirlwind. This might sound and look a bit complicated when put like this, but when summarized, it's really quite easy. Our general strategy will be to generate rage with Bloodthirst and Raging Blow up to 85 rage, then use Rampage, making sure to press Siegebreaker during Recklessness or at a time when it will be back up for the next Recklessness. Using our Execute procs when we get them, and using Dragon Roar when Raging Blow is on 1 charge remaining, and Bloodthirst is on cooldown. When whatever we're fighting drops below 20% health, we want to be using that Execute as close to cooldown as possible, pressing Rampage as much as we can, doing our best not to overcap on Rage, fill with Whirlwind when there's nothing else to press. To simplify it down even further, press these two as much as you can without overcapping Rage. Then press this one as soon as it becomes available, and press these when you see a good opportunity. When it comes to AoE, it's not a great deal more complex, as we have a sort of AoE activator ability in Whirlwind. This ability will make our next 2 single target abilities strike the 5 nearest targets. So basically, against 2 or more targets, we just want to be doing our normal single target rotation, hitting Whirlwind every 3 global cooldowns. Remember that you can spread the buff from Siegebreaker in an AoE using this. Also, try to use Dragon Roar during the Enrage buff, noting that you don't need to have the Whirlwind buff up for it. Now for the opener, and it's not a tough one. There are only a couple of things to mention here. Firstly, charge is off the global cooldown, so you can pop Recklessness on 0 and immediately charge for the increased rage generation, performing your rotation as normal, but noting that you will have insanely high rage generation for the next 10 seconds. So make sure to hit that Rampage every 2nd or 3rd ability, as you will overcap on Rage otherwise. Be especially wary with Raging Blow, as this thing generates a ton during Recklessness. I think from now on in this last section, I'm just going to include a few rapid fire tips in general for the spec, for some of the more in-depth aspects that may not be immediately obvious, that are not hugely important, but will help you learn the spec that little bit more. Try to have enough rage for a Rampage before you hit Siegebreaker, so that you can immediately hit it when you get the buff. Use Commanding Shout when your raid leader calls for it, or if you notice someone is low, just before something will hit them. It's very valuable, try to save it for when it will matter. If your group lacks burst AoE, Bladestorm can be better than Dragon Roar for things like Reaping, as it has higher damage but it's on a longer cooldown. Dragon Roar wins for more consistent AoE though. If you have multiple Cold Steel Hot Blood traits, Bloodthirst becomes more important as it will apply a bleed to the target, so make sure to press it as close to cooldown as possible. The Fury Warrior is simple but reliable. Not much RNG and simple AoE makes it one of the better specs in the game for new players who want to give melee a go. It's also one of the only melee specs in the game with 0 downtime, as Whirlwind has no cooldown or cost, so it can be used to fill in empty space infinitely. Give it a go if you want to live out that dream of being a super angry berserker guy. Anyway team, that has been the Fury Warrior. Spamming those Rampages, Bloodthirsts and Raging Blows on lots of haste will make sure you always have something to press. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that sub button and stick around for more. Many more guides to come, including some non-class based stuff in the future. If you want to ask a question, leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to get to it. If you want to say hi, I'm live 6 nights a week over at twitch.tv/Jactus. I hope this guide helped, and I will see you in the next one.